Have you seen that there's now a pushback in certain places where they are banning people from entering their stores if they are wearing masks?
No, that's really?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
It's hilarious. It's so weird because I understand the thought process for I'm scared of COVID. You can't come in unless you have a mask. But the you can't come in if you are wearing a mask is so clearly you can't come in unless you're on my team. It reminded me a lot, because I don't want to just pan one side, of when I got an antibody test that said you are still immune, you have natural antibodies, and my friend's wedding planner said that's not good enough. You need to get the vaccine so you have antibodies. And I said, What do you think the vaccine does? And what do you think this test from a doctor says that I have?
Yeah.
And my friend just said, listen, man, it's just the wedding planner. Like, it's not my call. But yeah, it's just happening now where they go, that mask that you have that does nothing to harm me, either it is neutral or keeps me safe, take it off or you can't come in my store.
Yeah.
Because other people are saying that it's the right of private business owners to demand masks. So it's my right as a private business owner to demand you unmask.
Sure.
And it is
true.
But it's just so funny because it's so spiteful and like my team only, and it doesn't actually correlate at all to a fear that you have that the mask will harm you in some way. I don't think, unless people just have weird mask phobias. So I thought that was really interesting. I was like, wow, this has become all about compliance and nothing about what's safe.
Yeah, and it was especially clear when we had a visitor from England who came over and was just so you know, I'm not vaccinated. Please don't think I'm the devil. I know that's very common out in California, but for people our age, like that's just not how we. It's fairly common in England to treat it that way.
Yeah, but I do think
it's very interesting how cultural the.
I do think that there's a lot of the people who are demanding masks think that COVID could kill them or their employees, and it does seem like demanding to be unmasked is very much a compliance exercise. Just thought it was interesting.
Yeah, I think it's all group affinity based, and the beliefs line up to just keep you in your group. Like, do you really like if you were able to run a test that is okay, likelihood that someone dies will like stack the other side with an investment of dollars, you would see that people have roughly the same, maybe not perfectly, but the same estimates of likelihood if you force them to put their money where their mouth is.
I actually totally disagree.
You think with money bets?
I think there's a ton of people that would tell you. So I bet there's a ton of people that have died of COVID that would have bet you there was a 100% chance they wouldn't die of COVID.
With cash, you think they would?
Yeah, for sure. Okay. I mean, they did it with the way they lived their lives and then died from it.
Well, these
are like overweight people. This is like I know that I'm 55, overweight. People are telling me that I have what's called a pre-existing health thing. I'm the person at risk, and I'm not going to get vaccinated or wear a mask. It's like I think that person would bet money that they can't die of COVID because they're ignoring the data that says most people don't die of COVID, but they will on account of their age and obesity and pre-existing.
Even then, their likelihood is less than 50% for sure in almost any case, right?
I mean, if you want to run this, I feel very confident I can get a bunch of people who will put money down. The other thing is they can't lose because they'll be dead.
Well, the question is the odds that you'll, if you put down $100 and you survive, we'll pay you 10 or something like that. I don't know.
I mean, I really actually do think people believe this to their core.
Got it. And their betting behavior would match.
I think so. Yeah.
Interesting.
Now, I think if you got somebody who was scared of COVID, what they would say is betting wise with money, I'm going to do certain odds, but with my life, I'm going to do different odds. You know what I mean? They use that kind of fear of loss thing to say, okay, odds I would survive 90%. That's the betting odds I would take, but I'm going to live my life like it's 100% because I'm not going to even risk a 0.01% of death. Just like you do every time you text from your phone while you're driving a car. Like you constantly make bets that are more dangerous than that. But I think that's how they would justify their monetary bet not lining up with the way they live.
Yeah. Yeah, the whole thing, I just, you've mentioned it before, the lack of comparison pool of risk has frustrated me with a lot of people that are, the people, I actually don't know anybody who's anti-vax in my life, so it's all coming from one particular direction in my life. It's all the very, very pro, very, very fearful angles that are, I know, just so much riskier with some areas of their health constantly, and it's been a frustration for me to deal with the poor diet and the, whatever, lack of exercise that is likely, or the stress that they encounter, which they've done very little about. But then behaving as if this is the one serious risk to their health has been a consistent frustration for me over the last year. But
yeah, but I do promise you,
it.
I do promise you, it happens on the other side too, where someone
Sure,
who's just clearly like you are the exact person that COVID will kill, and they go, "No, I don't believe you."
Yeah.
So it's both sides.
Anything else from you, or
that's why people hate us? You guys are constantly saying that it's both sides.
Line between good and evil runs through every man's heart.
That's it. That's all I got. Let's go to questions.
Cool.
Sick. First one is, one contrary point I want to offer is the concept of a person. The concept of a person selling their future time for money must value their future time as less. I would rather.
This is when we were talking about NFTs. Yeah.
So I would rather offer the view that some brilliant minds might need immediate cash at the sacrifice for a future hour. Mm-hmm. For example, a stock might have an aggressive view of the future, but might need liquid cash now. Would you say that a stock doesn't have a good future if they are willing to sell a portion of their future today?
So I agree with that philosophically, but that's not who I see doing this.
You make a good principled point, which is that there are people for whom this makes sense because they need liquidity right now. But I would challenge you to go, like, why not just take money out of as a debt, which is going to be charged you, 5 to 8%, because what you're going to pay if you really believe in your own success is if you believe that you're going to appreciate in value faster than the debt percentage that the bank is running on you, you're better off just taking out debt, paying off that debt with the money that you're going to be able to charge for your time in the future.
And if you think your time won't grow faster than the debt interest, then no one should buy your time.
No one should buy your time.
It's not going to be worth that much more in the
maybe
future.
I don't agree that this is a good principled argument. So okay, let's say you're a fledgling entrepreneur.
Well, I guess the question is
NFTs.
Think about it like a business. Some businesses sell debt, sell equity rather than take on loans.
Yeah.
Because they don't want the interest rate. That doesn't make them a bad business, and I agree. Mm-hmm. So can't a person sell some equity in themselves?
Sell some equity in themselves. Let me think if that comparison holds up. I think one of the reasons why do businesses do equity fundraising instead of debt? Sometimes they do it in addition for the advisors. They do it because I guess you can get more money and you don't want as much risk.
Well, if cash flow is tight, you don't want debt because if you go bankrupt, then you have to give up
for
your
tighter
whole business.
Cash flow.
Whereas if you do equity, you buy yourself interest-free money basically, which gives you more runway.
Yeah. And maybe it's harder to get debt financing if you're just
to be clear though, what most of them do is they do convertible notes where they just do debt instruments, but instead of having an interest rate, they convert into equity for a certain amount. So they do. There's these weird. It's complicated. Yeah, that's what I've learned as I've started trying to invest in friends' startups.
Yeah, I actually haven't done a ton in that world, so I actually don't know.
But my short answer would be yes, but that's not what I see from most people offering this.
And so is it fair to say that the people who are raising equity need a lot more cash than they might get from a debt financing thing? And the cash flow problem, like if you so let's say that you're raising at $200 million and you're taking out $10 or $20 million or something like that. The repayment on that, the percentage that you're going to have to start paying next year is going to be cripplingly high for a lot of small businesses, which is why equities make sense.
One thing I'd also say is that the most important resource if you are successful is your time. That's the most important thing for Elon and Zuckerberg and even us with our whatever level of small success we've had compared to those guys. So a business sells a percentage of their future profits. And what they say is, this money is going to help me make so much money in the future that owning 50% of it is still going to make me $100 million.
Yeah.
But they don't raise equity in exchange for their time. They don't go,
they do it for
you give me money and then I'm going to be beholden to you to go do you time favors.
Yeah.
So it is a little bit of a different thing.
I broadly see what you're saying, but it's and I imagine that there are individuals for whom this would make sense that are not believing in themselves. But what we're seeing in the NFT world right now, the ones that we're aware of, are people that have audiences wide enough to make you aware of it and cash, and therefore Gary Vee's liquid. He's
also even the
liquid enough.
Even the small guys seem to be just raising money for themselves. And maybe, to be clear, there's definitely someone that's going to fit the description I'm about to say. I haven't seen anyone who says, I have this thing that I need money for that I'm going to invest in immediately, and rather than take out debt, I'm going to sell my future time in an NFT. And I'm positive that's happened, and that would make sense to do potentially.
Yeah, and then I go, Kickstarter is just such a better way. Kickstarter is amazing. Kickstarter, no equity, no debt.
Kickstarter is wild.
Pure freaking pre-sale of an undetermined product based on a demo video.
It's actually amazing
awesome.
that anyone will fund a Kickstarter.
I do it all the time, and quite frankly, I'm disappointed. I fund these games that concepts I like, and of course, it's much tougher to execute. Well,
the Kickstarter is wild. You are funding someone with no promise that they'll deliver the product in the future and no promise of profit share if it does go well.
No, you just want to see this in the world.
You just get permission to be a customer if it works.
Yes.
But you're paying the whole thing up front.
Yeah.
It's actually
sometimes
crazy.
It's at a discount. Sometimes it's like, look, we're going to sell this for $60 and you're buying it.
It's a wild. I'm not saying it's bad.
From a business owner's perspective, if you need financing, that is the way to do
awesome.
it. Yeah, it's great. And again, there's limitations on how much you're going to earn with Kickstarter. But so anyway.
Yeah, you're only capped at like millions and millions of dollars.
Yeah. if you have a good team and a good video and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So yeah, there's totally a way that an NFT could be done ethically, but most of the people, it's just not the same. It's not as comparable as you're saying to equity raising in the business, but someone might be doing it that way. And maybe it's really smart of them to do it. And maybe it's really smart to buy that NFT.
I'm Googling million token right now just because I haven't checked in a minute. Nice.
What's it at?
It did this. It's like today it's up a few percentage points, but if you just look at the chart, it's one of these.
Any day now, dude. Back to the moon.
Yeah. Let's keep going. Hope that you guys enjoyed that clip. If you want to see more like this and have us do more podcasts, we are 100% funded by our generous patrons. And if you'd like to contribute, there's a link in the description, and we'll have one pop up on the screen right here so that we can do more podcasts where we have fun conversations and hopefully some deep ones like this. Either way, hope that you enjoyed the video, and I will see you in the next one.